Hi there, Peter here with Rincon Property Management, and we are here to answer another common issue that we're presented with, and that's what to do if you need to get a tenant out of your property. So a lot of people contact us when they have a problem tenant. Either they're managing the property on their own, or they have a friend or another company managing it, and they have a problem tenant that they want to get out of their property. What do they do? How do we do that? So there's a couple principles to keep in mind here. One, there is landlord-tenant law that needs to be followed. So when it comes to removing a tenant from a property, it's a serious legal matter, and you have to do it the right way. When self-managing landlords try to do it on their own, that's when you typically see problems, or you hear those nightmare scenarios like, I had a tenant who lived in my house for a year and didn't pay rent and I couldn't get rid of them. That generally means that somebody is not following the law, and that's why they keep resetting the clock, if you will. So the first thing is you have to give proper notice. So depending on whether or not your tenant's on a lease or on a month-to-month agreement and how long they've lived in the property will dictate what the proper notice is. Do you have to give a 30-day notice? Do you have to give a 60-day notice? What is the law require you to do? That's the first thing. And we can't tell you exactly what to do in this video because we don't know your exact situation, and a lot of the situations are different, but proper notice. Now, serving notice by itself is its own animal. Like, you can't just hand somebody something and call it good, or send it in the mail. Like, the law is very clear on how you serve notice. Do you post it and mail it? Do you serve it personally? Do you send it first class mail, certified mail? What is the law? And by the way, that changes. We just had a law that changed some of the requirements on posting. So make sure if you're doing this on your own that you research the most current law and you follow it to a T. The other thing we get is some people will have a bad tenant. They hire us to move the tenant, to handle this for them with giving proper notice and moving the tenant through the process so they eventually have to move. And then they want to just take the security deposit. Well, a lot of landlords want to either A, keep the security deposit or make multiple deductions out of the security deposit. The principles to keep in mind is you can only make a security deposit deduction for uncollected rent, if the tenant didn't pay the rent, or damage to your property above normal wear and tear. So if there's just normal wear and tear, you cannot make a deduction to the security deposit. But assume that they did damage the property and you want to make a deduction. It goes back to when the tenant moved in. And if you're managing the property on your own, which is a lot of people, you have to make sure you properly document the move-in. You would do that with a move-in inspection, a written move-in inspection that the tenant signs, and some sort of either photograph or video evidence of the condition of the property. What I recommend is you take as many photos as you can of every area of the house that you can. You could go a step further and take video documentation, or if you wanted to take it another step, which is what we do at Rincon, is you do a 3D virtual scan of every inch of the property, and now you are 100% covered as far as documenting the condition when the tenant moved in. And that includes the exterior areas. Make sure you do the front yard, side yard, backyard, garage, everywhere. So you have to have good move-in documentation. So if you come to us with a problem tenant, and we've helped you move them out, but you have zero move-in documentation, more than likely we're not going to be able to deduct out of their security deposit for things, because if you are taken to court, which if you have a problem tenant, more than likely they're going to fight you, you're going to lose any type of deduction that you can't document. And time is money, and you don't want to waste a bunch of your time trying to go after, $100 deduction or something along those lines if you have no chance of winning it. So make sure you do good move-in documentation up front. Now, currently, while we're filming this video, we are under a state of emergency related to COVID-19 coronavirus. The rules have changed for how you ask a tenant to move out of your property. And I don't want to get into all the details, but we have other videos on our YouTube page that you can go look at. But basically, you're prevented right now from asking your tenant to leave. Unless there's some sort of health and safety violation, then you can still proceed with an eviction for that. But you can't evict anybody right now. You can't just give a simple notice to vacate right now. So during this coronavirus, obviously the rules have changed. And if you are seeing this or you want to contact us during this time, please reach out to us, because It's a very complex issue because there's multiple layers of government that are involved, from the feds, the state, the counties, down to the cities, and they all have their own ordinances in place on what you can and can't do. So it is a very complicated thing to figure out if you are in a position where you have a problem tenant and you want them to move. Above all, if you're not up to speed on landlord-tenant law, fair housing law, or you don't have the time to get yourself up to speed, it's in your best interest to hire a good professional management company to do those things for you. That's what we do on a regular basis. We are looking out for our clients, the owners of the property's best interests. We have a fiduciary responsibility to them. And one of those is making sure that if we do have a problem, that it's handled correctly. And if we need to get a property back from a bad tenant, we have systems and procedures in place to do that. In fact, we do that on a regular basis. So the best way to mitigate your risk related to this is to hire a professional company to do it for you. If you like this video, if you have any questions or you want to talk more about it, please reach out to us. Also subscribe to our YouTube page. We do put out a lot of informational, educational content there that you can either use to help yourself be a better landlord or just educate yourself in general about rental properties in general. Hope you're having a good day.